Hi. I was gonna talk to you about distraction today, and almost got distracted from doing that exact thing. What I really wanted to talk about was the sweet scent of distraction and how it lures you away from those things of consequence that'll make the most difference in your life. And I speak from experience here because I am a terrible procrastinator. And one of the reasons that I procrastinate, or one of the excuses that I have for my procrastination, is distractions. But before I do that, I should mention that today is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, September the 17th. It is Journal 172, and therefore it is T+168. And I promise not to get distracted while we're doing this. Actually, I can't promise that because if you know me well enough, you know that I'll be like that, the dog that had the cone on in that animated special Up, I think it was, and Squirrel. Only when I wrote about it for the magazines that I was writing for at the time, I called it a Pink Bunny. And that's how it was introduced to me. And I want to talk to you about the pink bunnies in your life, and the pink bunnies in mine as well, because there are lots of them. And you learn how to manage them. You have to learn how to manage them when you're busy and when you're doing lots of different things. And especially if you're trying to write a book, you have to really be good about managing the appearance and the care and feeding of those pink bunnies, because they're going to keep popping up all over the place. Or you're going to wind up running around going, squirrel! And, you should recognize the fact, of course, that distraction is the natural enemy of achievement or accomplishment. It is your subconscious, maybe not even your subconscious, the amygdala trying to prevent you from going into areas that you're not comfortable with, or doing things that you're uncomfortable with, to try and keep you safe and to try and keep you out of harm's way. Its worst enemy is going to be focus. Its worst enemy is going to be desire. Its worst enemy is going to be discipline. Its worst enemy is going to be an awareness of the fact that these things are happening all around you all the time, and are giving you the opportunity to stay away from the hard work required to get anything done. So I think it's important to talk about these things because they impact so many of us in so many different ways. And most of those ways are going to be negative, because they keep you from doing the things that you were meant to do, the things that you're here to accomplish. And you can start out with distractions easily enough. And they take the form of fixations in many cases, and addictions. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about whether or not to use a specific personal example, and decided, what the hell, why not? It's easy to be distracted, especially when you've done something of consequence, like write a book. And it's easy to go ahead and get distracted from doing something that you need to do, like the blog post, or that you want to do, like the blog post, by going somewhere else to see how many copies of the book you just sold. That's a distraction. And it's made easy because you're tethered to the mothership via all of these electronic devices that are screaming at you all the time, demanding your attention. Have you gotten any emails? Who are they from? Are you on Facebook? Did somebody say something about you? What about LinkedIn? If you're looking for a job, was there anything that was posted recently that you should know about? FOMO, fear of missing out. We're terrified of that. So consequently, we're always looking around at other places for other things to do that take us away from the hard work of doing something worthwhile. So you have to really learn how to manage that. You have to be able to go ahead and actually turn your stuff off for a while and say, okay, fine, for this period of time, for the next half hour, for the next hour, I'm going to do nothing but focus on this particular project, and I'm only going to focus on this element of this project, and I'm going to keep the bites small enough so that I can establish a pattern of success in getting all of this done. Success breeds success. The more successful you are at getting done what you need to get done, the more successful you're going to be at getting the things that you need to get done. And it's kind of like managing the monkey brain chatter that goes on inside your head, right? When you're meditating, the distractions aren't going to go away. The pink bunnies are going to be there, and the squirrels are going to go running by. And there's not a whole lot any of us can do about that. What we can do something about is not reacting to them. You know, much the same way as when you meditate, say, oh, that's interesting, that's fascinating, and then go back to your breathing. So when these distractions pop up in your head, say, that's action, you know, we'll do it later. I used to smoke, and here's a good example of what I'm talking about. I used to smoke. When I quit smoking, I would buy a fresh pack of cigarettes every day because there's nothing in the world that tastes worse than stale cigarettes. Now I've quit almost 50 years ago. Maybe more than 50 years ago, I'm not sure. And I bought a pack of fresh cigarettes every day, and I'd take a couple of cigarettes out and throw them away, so it was easy to get cigarettes out, right? Because it was hard to get the cigarettes out of the pack. And then I'd walk around with the pack in my pocket. And I wouldn't say I was going to quit smoking. What I would say is that I'll have a cigarette later. Well, if you're always going to have the cigarette later, then you're never going to have another cigarette. And that's what I was able to do. So if you manage distractions, and if you manage your time at work, your time involved in a project, carefully, you'll have the same, I think you can have the same result. The other things that you should be aware of is that if you're going to do something and you start to get distracted, don't. Just say no. No is a really important word. No may be the single most important word I ever learned in business. It wasn't, no, I don't want to. It wasn't no, I can't. It was that no, at this particular time, we're not going to do that because of the chaos it'll bring to the rest of my work week, the rest of my work day. So do it now. Get the project started now, and don't let anything get in your way. Turn your messages off for a while, and just focus on what needs to be done. My assumption is that if you have a project that needs to be done, it has to be done for a reason. So the best thing to do is to get it done now. Now's the best time to do anything. And as I said before, establish these are muscles that need to be trained. So establish a shorter period of time in the beginning for working on a project uninterrupted so that you can build that muscle memory up, and try and find an environment that makes it easy to do that, conducive to doing that. I love to read. I tend to have one chair that I sit in whenever I read. It's my reading chair. If you have an office at home, then you should go ahead and make sure that that office at home is as comfortable as you can make it. And when you go into that office and you set everything up the way it's supposed to be set up, you'll sit down and your brain will automatically know that you're in a work mode. So I think another piece of advice I'd give you before we stop for today is focus on your strengths. Stay away from projects that you're not going to be good at, that are going to take a lot of time, that you're not interested in completing, that are out of your wheelhouse, that are not something that you're comfortable with. If you can avoid them, because they're just going to tear you up. And nobody needs to go ahead and work really hard to be unsuccessful or to get frustrated or to, beat yourself up about something that you weren't able to do. Avoid anything that you think or believe or know is going to be an obstacle. and get you stuck somewhere, because that is not going to help you, in your battle against distractions. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Stay well, take care. I just finished a great interview with Carm Capriotto of the Remarkable Results radio program. When that podcast comes out, when it's released after it's edited, I'll let you know about it. It was doing an interview with Carm is like sitting down at a coffee table with an old friend and just chatting for a half an hour. And I think that's one of the reasons he gets such remarkable results. So stay well, take care. Love you all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.